Okay, let's talk about solving inequalities. Okay, so I did give you these steps here. Please refer to them to kind of help you with your problem solving. And there's some things you do need to remember. So just like with solving systems with graphically, you have to um, solve for y. So it just is rearrange each equality so y is by itself. This is basically all we're doing here is we are going to solve for y. Okay. Then they want us to use the slope-intercept form, just step 2 right here, to graph it. So that is basically when we're using the y equals mx plus b. And when it's in this form, we're still going to do our parts, which is the b is first. When we graph it, hopefully we can see that. Let me fix my font, like obviously, sorry. So first we need to do that, graph the y-intercept, the b, and then we need to do the slope second. Use your slope second. Then after that, when we get the points, we do have to remember when it's determine if it's a dashed line or a solid line. Okay, so dashed lines are when we are dealing with just less than or greater than. There's no line underneath it. If it's a solid line, that's when it's less than or equal to or greater than or equal to. So it's just like every time I see this line underneath here, underneath the inequality, then it's going to be a solid line. And then we have to determine to shade above or below. So if I'm shading, let me get to my thing again. If I'm going to shade above, okay, above, I'm going to come down here, is when it's greater than. Okay, hopefully you can see that greater. So, oh, that's horrible. Let me fix this. Sorry. Above is when it's greater than. Okay. So it's a G. Okay. All right. It's worse. Okay. Greater than. So that is these two symbols, greater than or equal to, included. Below is when we have less than. So like I can turn that into L. I don't know if y'all can see that. Okay. So I like to think of it less than that L, I could turn into this symbol right there. So less than or equal to. Okay. All right. So I gave you an example here. And I think, yeah, we're going to talk about some things not to forget. So for this first inequality, I'm going to do this in blue right here. Okay. Oops, that's red. So I'm going to put a little dot blue. We have to solve for y. I could do this by subtracting 3x on both sides or just moving it over. And when I do that, okay, don't forget your sign right here. You're going to get a negative y is less than or equal to negative 3x plus 2. Now, when we solve our inequality or our variable, excuse me, we can't have a negative variable. So what happens is we have to get rid of this negative by multiplying or dividing by negative. And this is where I was saying don't forget right here. Don't forget to flip the symbol when dividing by negative. So because we're going to divide everything or multiply everything by negative, this symbol here, less than or equal to, now needs to be greater than or equal to. So this really becomes y is greater than or equal to negative divided by negative makes that now positive 3x minus 2. So this is what we're graphing. So we start with the b, the negative 2. So we put a point there. Our slope is 3 right here. That's what we do second. And so that's the same as 3 over 1. So we're going to count up 3 to the right 1. Put a point. Up 3 to the right 1. Now, you look at the symbol, this symbol here, to determine if it's dash or solid. This is going to be a solid line. So I'm going to make it a blue solid line. I'm going to use the app, so the little tool here. I'm going to cheat a little bit. I'll make sure I'm using the right line. There we go. And it's going to be blue. All right, so there we go, like such. And let me see if I can extend this. Make it a little bit better. There we go. And then we have to decide if we're shading above or below. Since our symbol says greater than, then we're going to shade, and I'm going to do this in the blue too. Oops. We're going to shade above the line, so that's over here. Okay, above would be to the left here. All right, so then we have to also solve for y for our second inequality. So that one I am going to do in red. And if I see here, I need to move this x over, subtract it. So this is going to give me 2y is less than a negative 5x plus 10. And then we need to divide it by 2, everything by 2. So y is less than or equal to, oops, just less than. Y is less than negative 5 over 2x plus 5. Hopefully you can see that. So my y-intercept is a positive 5. So I'm going to go on the y-axis, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, plot that point. My slope is a negative 5 over 2. So I'm going to count down 5 and to the right 2. And I'm going to plot that point. Okay, now this inequality is a dash. So I'm going to go here. I'm going to make this a dash. And I'm also going to make this my red line. So I'm drawing that line through these points right there. And I'm going to extend it a little bit. Okay, and because it's less than, we are going to shade below. So I'm going to put this one in green. So when we shade below, that would be here. And we want just the part where they overlap. So I don't need this section here. Okay, and this is what happens on ALEKS. They want you just to only pick where they overlap. And when we did this by hand, we talked about putting the S, and I think we did it in black, to show where the solution set, okay? So this is our solution set where they overlap. So any point, because I think they ask you sometimes on ALEKS to pick a point that's a solution. So any point, I'm going to do this here, any point that I pick that's in this overlapping, okay, would be our answer. All right, so that takes care of our inequalities. All right, and now we'll just review what we just did, the next part.